How you doing, everybody? Dalton the Car Guy here. So I've had my YouTube channel for, I don't know, about 10 years or so. I used to sell cars back in the day as a side hustle, and I'd post dozens and dozens and dozens of used car videos. Like, something sweet comes in, and I'll do a sweet little video on it and whatnot. Since then, I've lost almost all of them. So in the midst of this channel, I'm gonna be posting some of those old ones that I can find on my Facebook and stuff, because they're pretty funny. But the goal for this channel really is to just have some fun. I've got a 73 F100 that I've been doing a lot of work to over the past couple of years. I found it on blocks, hadn't ran in 15 years. Had a clean title, so I picked it up for a couple grand, brought it home. Since then, I've done the charging system, ignition system, threw on an eBay HEI. I just got a Holley Street Dominator intake and threw a new Holley carb on it. Yeah, it's got an Edelbrock air cleaner on it, but what are you gonna do? It's what I have. We try to keep things low buck around here. The truck's pretty sweet though. It ran and drive great with the old 2152 barrel on it, but you know what? I got the opportunity to get a 4-barrel intake for free. So I had to do a little bit of JB welding on it because it sat around for a long time and had a little bit of damage. Decked it out, got it as good as I can. I'm hoping it's not going to leak. I'm hoping there's not any cracks, but I'm waiting for Amazon to bring me my ARP intake bolts, because it took me like 4 days to get them. And honestly, I didn't realize that I was going to have to get them until I looked at this bad boy right here. So my back bolts are a little chewy. So I figured I'd grab a new set. So those are going to be coming in. So I'll do a little video of throwing it together and stuff, and put it on the channel. So it'll be the first channel, the first video on the channel. And I'll tell you what, man, I've been wanting to do a YouTube for a long time, and I've just been putting it off for quite a long time. And now I finally feel like I can get into it. My job takes me away from home 3 weeks out of the month, so I'm kind of stuck only being able to produce content about the truck, about the build, while I'm home. So it might be a little bit sporadic, but I'll throw in some fun stuff while I'm on the road and stuff up in Nebraska and Colorado and the other states that I head to for work. And we'll get into that a little bit later on in the channel. But I'm hoping that, over the next few years, maybe this will turn into something, because like I said, I've wanted to do a YouTube channel for a long time, but I've put it off because, I'm always kind of worried about, what people are going to think about it. And that, in the end, it doesn't really matter. As long as I'm having a good time, I don't care what anybody else thinks. But there was a little bit of a question whether I wanted to put myself out there in that way. But let's take a look at the truck real quick. So this is the 73 F100 I've been working on for the last couple of years. Since then, I just last week or the week before did the brakes. So new calipers, rotors, brake lines. Just up front, I haven't touched the drums in the rear yet, but they haven't given me any issues. Inside, I have done LMC carpet kit. The seat's actually not in bad shape. This is how it was when I got it. It's got this nice vinyl wrap on it, and honestly, it'll be a lot better once I get it cushioned, because it's real soft over on the sides, especially the driver's side, which is typical. But other than that, I haven't done too much to the interior rather than installing a new steering wheel. Freaking eBay special. When I got it, it didn't have any mirrors on it, so I threw some just regular Ford mirrors on there, in the way that I like it, where the top is actually a little bit more level rather than it being sticking up real hard. But the dash is in really good shape. There's a couple of cracks in the dash pad, but throw a dash mat on it. That's all you really need to do. I'm gonna get some new door cards here in the next couple weeks so that we can, do as much as we can to the interior to make it like a comfortable driver. I did door seals, tons of insulation on the bottom when I did the carpet kit. Threw a tack on it, just a cheap knockoff auto meter, which really irritates me because it doesn't light. I've got it wired up right, but for some reason the dang wire doesn't like to light. Or the dang thing doesn't like to light up. So that's kind of annoying at night, but my dome light works and everything, so I can kick it on if I really need to see the RPM at night. all the gauges work just fine. Speedo was disconnected when I bought the truck, attached it, and boom, it works just great. I've got 31s on it right now, so it's a little bit off, about 5 miles per hour. But my voltmeter works, oil pressure works, fuel gauge actually works on one tank. I cannot get the other tank to work at all. So I've got it full of 91 right now, completely full. So that thing's sitting with all this fuel in it. So I'm gonna end up pumping that out, replacing the tank, running a new line, putting in either a manual or probably an electronic switch so I can switch between the two tanks. The auxiliary tank, or the center tank, is working great. I've had some issues with, I ran it dry once and it sucked up a bunch of stuff and clogged up the original 2150 that I had on it. And so I threw a new 2150 on it just from eBay, 60 bucks or something like that, and it has worked just fine. Under the hood here, she's just your standard 360. It's got great oil pressure. I don't think I'm gonna have to do anything with the bottom end. I'm gonna pull it out here in the next couple weeks, give it the old Craigslist rebuild, just a little as Derek Bierry would say. Put some headers on it, and I'm gonna probably get just some Edelbrock Performer heads on it, just to liven it up a bit, maybe throw in a better cam. You know, bump it up just a little bit. I'm not trying to make this thing a race truck. It's gonna just be a driver. So it's not something that I'm too worried about. I did do the master cylinder, didn't do the hard lines, but I did do the lines, you know, to the calipers. So that was fun. Broke 3 bolts doing that, doing the calipers. So that was great. I don't know if this truck has really ever been touched. When I pulled the intake off, it was original. There was literally nothing ever done. There was some sludge down in there. I have pulled that windage tray off. I did clean it up a bit. I mean, it's a little nasty looking right now, but I threw some oil on there to let it soak into the lifters and stuff before I throw the intake on it. So I'll keep you updated on what the truck's gonna be over the next year or so. I like the stance. I did put 2-inch Delrin spring spacers on the front. I was debating whether to Crown Vic swap it and lower it, but I don't think I need to. I think it looks pretty good. The old trailer wheels are, you know, they're not my favorite, but I did have a 1969 F250. That was my first truck. My dad brought it home to me when I was like 15 years old, and I hated him for it until, well, I fell in love with these old Fords. So since then, I've had 5 or 6 between 68 and 75 F100s. And this one's just, it's really clean. I think it was repainted back in the 80s. It is the original color, so the cab and everything are all blue. There are some replacement panels on it, and whoever did the pinstriping on this thing, I want to give them a handshake, because it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It looks like they did a freaking whiteout job, like just with whiteout on it. I mean, I'll get into it a little bit later. But I'm gonna sand it out a little bit, buff it out, and then maybe use some of that shine juice that Derek Bierry has been talking about for a long time, or that wipe on clear coat. I've been really interested in trying that out. But no, it's a great truck. And here in the next hour or so, I should be getting those intake manifold bolts. So we'll throw that on. We'll get it timed by vacuum and by ear. I ain't throwing a dang timing light on this thing. Screw it. We're at about 6,000 feet, so hopefully I don't have to do too much to the carb. I've got a jet kit, and I've got a new spring kit for the accelerator pump in case it needs it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm really hoping there's no leaks on that intake, because one, it was free. It was sitting in a field. It did have a broken port where the heater elbow goes in, so that I got JB welded up, and I'll show you that here in a bit. I just love the truck, man. It drives great. I did the clutch when I first got it. The throwout bearing was completely destroyed, so I pulled the transmission in a buddy's driveway, dropped it. No transmission jack. Getting it back up was a pain. But the clutch is buttery smooth. I mean, it shifts great. It's a 4 on the floor, first gear granny, so, you know, hardly ever use it. It is a factory AC truck, so it does have all the AC parts. I did toss out the compressor because it was seized up when I got it. So if I do decide to get the AC going again, I can. I'm pretty sure. But we'll find out. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I'm in Prescott, Arizona. It's pretty beautiful out here most of the time. And growing up, I was in Parker where it's, 115 degrees during the summer. Never had AC in one of these trucks. I ain't too worried about it. As long as that heat works, the vacuum lines for the heater switch are all just removed. So it only blows out of the dash, which is fine because, it blows out of the dash. That means I've got defrost and it gets pretty cold up here where I'm at. So, yeah, here in the next hour, we'll be getting the ARP intake bolts and we'll pick it up from there.